What's up? Good afternoon. It's great to be with you today. It's great to be with all of you today. My name's James Gore, Sonoma County Supervisor, my 12th year, finishing up my third term. And we have this segment, this podcast, and this is really focusing today on an absolutely awesome mission, a campaign for a better community, a better world, but focused locally, like the real stuff we need. Yeah. And I just want to really thank you, Larkin. We have today Larkin O'Leary with the Common Ground Society. Common Ground is, I think, not just a moniker or a title for a nonprofit. It's something we need more and more of these days. I was just at like 4 or 5 meetings where everyone was talking about how crazy the world is and how people are the critics are kind of owning all of the space, all of the volume in our world. And what I really love about your mission with Common Ground, but then also as I really was introduced to it through something called Be the One, is that it's really about not being the critic. Yeah. It's about being the person who steps up. Yep. It's about having that ripple be bigger and bigger in our community and creating a community of belonging. Yes. And so I want to pass it over to you really quickly so that you can lead us into this introduction of what is a community of belonging really mean. Because it's really cool. You didn't do this to create a nonprofit at first. Oh, no. Or when we met 8 years ago or something, and then evolve into Common Ground, and then to go into all this different programming. But you're here because what you needed is something that the world needed and other community members needed. Yeah. And now it's got this, like it even just gives me the chills when I think about it, got this little magic in a bottle. So talk to me, introduce yourself, and talk to us about a community of belonging. And I just want to thank you because we've been doing a lot of county departments and other things, like real technical stuff. Yeah. And it's great just to be with you on a mission. Yeah. Today. I'm so grateful that you invited us to come and be part of what we're doing and sharing part of what we're doing here today. So Common Ground Society, we never meant to start a nonprofit. The other co-founder and I, Jessica Hunter, we're just two moms looking to do better in the world for our kids. Both of our children have Down syndrome. And so when our kids' preschool asked us to come in and do a presentation for World Down Syndrome Day, I'm a teacher by trade and by heart, and I jumped at the chance, and that presentation has turned into almost 125,000 students from Bend, Oregon to San Diego, spreading the good word of acceptance and inclusion, as well as a wide variety of inclusive spaces presentations to places like Sonoma County Tourism, the YMCA, the library, all sorts of places in Sonoma County. And at the same time, I was looking for local support from other families who got it. My son was born with Down syndrome, and there's an incredible Down syndrome community here and everywhere. But James was going through something very different. He has had over 31 surgeries and procedures, hundreds of days in the hospital, came home with a G-tube for a while, on oxygen. It was a really hard first 5 years, and I was looking for people who got it. And, the one thing all of us have in common is that we want to belong in this world. And I really felt like I didn't have a place for that. So I created a small Facebook group of people that I knew who had kids with any sort of disability, medical complexity, or unique need. And that group has grown to over 1,600 local Sonoma County families. And we have about 15 different touch points a month that we make for families, like moms groups, dads, siblings groups. We have family meetups, a variety of adult and teen mixers. It's just grown into this incredible community, and it fills my heart with so much joy knowing that our greater community really believes in us and wants to support us. Yes. Sometimes we just blast through interviews and discussions. Thank you. Okay, 1,600 families and so many other families that even today with us talking about this, we want to connect them to this. So the first thing is we finish with a call to action always on this show. Yeah. But let's start with the call to action too. If there's anybody out there who has is in a family or with any conversation, especially I think I loved how you framed it, disability, medical complexity, or unique need in that way, reach out to Common Ground, Common Ground Society, and go to the Facebook page and see that there's this authentic sharing going on that brings people in, that calls people in, not calling people out. Yes. On the other side, what I really like that you do is you're providing these spaces, but you're also challenging all of us to be a part of it rather than just creating a bubble of those who have a shared life experience.
Right.
And that's where I really met you with Be the One. Because
Yeah.
what you were doing with Be the One is you were challenging the world through your community
Yeah.
to be the one that steps up for
Yes.
James, that
Yep.
be's the one who's in that class that doesn't let one person snickering or talking smack or
Yep.
whatever that be turn into 2 or 3 or 4. And I tell that to my son.
Yeah.
I say, your job is not only to not be a bully, your job is to stand up.
Yes.
And if you do wrong, it doesn't mean you're canceled forever, but it means you got to check yourself
Yep.
before you wreck yourself.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that, why that it really inspired you as an opening for the other world, not the families you provide connective tissue to, but like what the community needs to do when they look at these unique individuals.
One of my big mottos is you don't know what you don't know until you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew nothing about people with disabilities before having my son. And if I'm being honest and vulnerable, which I always am, and that's, I think, why our presentations are always so well received, is because I didn't know. And I thought people with disabilities were the helpies and I was the helper, right? It's how our society frames people with disabilities. And it wasn't until I had a connection with disability that I realized that all people have something beautiful to offer this world, if only our world is brave enough to recognize it. And so having this connection to my son and then meeting so many other people through him, really learning that it's as simple as just saying hi, right?
Yeah.
Just saying hi and getting to know someone you perceive as different from you. And we challenge people to be the one to just say hi and ask questions to find similarities. We bet that you can find something in common with just about anyone if you try, and being the one to stand up if you see someone being left out or mistreated. As my son gets older, he's 12 now, which is like, what?
So is my son. We should introduce him.
Oh man, yeah, and then we should go out for a cocktail because wow, the sass at 12, it's a lot, yeah. But
Yes.
he used to.
I'm sure that didn't come from anybody though, right?
No,
That sass is
obviously
Yeah,
not.
obviously
yeah,
not.
it skipped a generation. It was my mom, I'm pretty sure. But as my son gets older and he's no longer that cute little kid and he's getting older, he's going to have acne, his voice is going to break it, he's going to get into that weird teen years. People aren't going to look at him and be like, oh, look at that cute little boy, and I want them to look at him like a kid, like the kid that he is. And so in understanding that all people are just people, all kids are just kids, and even if someone can't communicate the way you and I communicate doesn't mean they're not understanding every single thing you're saying, right? All we want, any person in this world, is to belong, and that takes all of us to create that.
You have these, I think, these difficult moments with this. Maybe you can help me understand a little bit, but I think if I try to step back as not having a kid with what would be called a traditional disability or unique need, all of our kids have needs, and that's one of the part of blogging that we talk about. But one of the things that I see is that there's either really no engagement, it's kind of put off, or it's like these kind of amazing stories where somebody who was it's like it goes viral online. Yep. It's like the kid who helped take care of the basketball team comes in and hits the three at the end. These amazing stories. But I think a part of what I hear you saying is, let's make this every day. Let's not make it this like the viral video.
Right.
Like, let's make it the hello, not just standing up for somebody.
Right.
Hi.
Right.
Simple.
Right.
And that's beautiful because that's what it's all about.
And, learning about people. I thought my favorite thing in the world is meeting new people. I get into trouble often because I just love people and I love learning about how we can connect. I love learning new things. And, a lot of things that my son has taught me, I never would have learned had he not been in my life. And so the ability for us to learn and grow as humans, that's our job and that's what we do. And so to create a community of belonging here in Sonoma County and beyond by simply saying hello and getting to know people. I mean, It's an easy concept, so attainable, especially this day and age. It's just so needed.
So let's dive a little bit deeper. But before we do, I want you to tell people how they can engage with you. I said it, but I want you to say, this is what we do at Common Ground. This is how you can engage.
Yeah, we are always looking for volunteers. So commongroundsociety.org. On our calendar, we have a list of volunteer opportunities, and you can sign up for our newsletter that also gives those opportunities. We have this great calming tent that we're really in need of support with right now, to find volunteers to bring it to places like the Wednesday night market or the fireworks or the tree lightings, right? It's a place where anyone can go and take a minute from all the chaos, but we're having a hard time finding volunteers to staff that. So always looking for volunteers, always looking for donors, and people just interested in our presentations and getting to know our community, because you don't know what you don't know until you know. But let me tell you, once you meet this secret society and you get involved, there are some cool people, and it's really amazing.
I know you as being also tenacious.
Me?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Great grit, right? Whether it's even just like, hey, James, I want you to show up to this. Hey, I haven't heard back to you. I need you to show up to this. Or if it's, what I see I see it also with the grit that you embody, honestly, when you make a Facebook post about the broken healthcare system and what's provided or not provided when you have basically the medicine, but that you can't get it for your kid.
Right.
And it's 2 blocks away,
right.
and he's going through hell.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for that grit, because these days, one of the crazy things is that it's too easy to be a critic in this world.
Yes.
It's too easy to expect everybody else to be the one.
Yep.
And I think that is really the crisis. Is the way I say it is that, I pride myself on being the one, before I even met you, that when I see somebody broken down in the middle of an intersection, instead of honking at him and going, God, the tow truck should come get him, the government should come do it, is you get out and you push them through the intersection and you shake their hand and say, good luck.
Yep.
Right? It's just a little help.
Yep.
Just this little bump sometimes. And so I really appreciate that you've embodied that, not just as an ethos, but as a programmatic goal.
Right. Well,
so let's talk about that.
I mean, here's the thing. We are all interdependent on one another. Like, believe me, you don't want me doing your taxes, but I can speak in front of 900 people, no problem, right? I can work with every child. I love kids. Some people don't, right? Some people run governments or websites or whatever, right? We all need each other. So just because someone has a disability doesn't make them any different than any other community member. We all need support sometimes. And who do we rely on? Our community to do that.
Talk to me about how I know I don't like to over label. I think that's a very unique, thing, but can you help me understand that a little bit? Because I'm keying in when you say disability, medical complication, unique need. How do you work through that as a mom? How do you identify how you want to frame the people that you serve?
A great question. I think just like with everything, everyone chooses their own labels. So we have people who, like in the Down syndrome community, they highly prefer person first language. James is a boy with Down syndrome, not a Down syndrome boy, right? Versus the autistic community, where they overwhelmingly prefer identity first language. So it's an autistic person, not a person with autism. Versus a parent who has a child with autism overwhelmingly prefers person first language, right? Just like with every label we have in this world, your best bet is to ask, and even better, just learn their name and call them by that.
Best way is to ask,
right?
And then and you should ask the name before you try and. Well, and let's be real. That's a part of that. I was just having lunch today with a dear friend, and we were talking about how many people judge people based on what they assume their values are based on their politics, your political party, other things. Oh, you're not progressive enough for me, or you're too conservative for me, or whatever it is like those are your values. But are those really your values?
Right.
Are your values ascribed to what's written down on a piece of paper, or how somebody sees like what they're defining?
Right.
No, not at all.
Right.
But these days, I think a part of what we need more of, I'll put it in terms of a positive instead of complaining, is that more people who ask questions.
Yes. get curious.
Yeah, be
right.
curious.
If you don't know something, learn about it.
Yeah.
The one thing I will tell you, learning from disabled teens and adults, which I highly recommend everyone read the works, of disabled adults. I do not speak for the community, but I've lost my train of thought. Okay, so I do have ADHD. I will tell you that. And what's interesting about this is I don't identify as disabled, but technically that is under the disability label. And so sometimes that happens to me. And so I just like to throw that out there.
Yeah, good. Well, we're still rolling, and I can tell, the reason that you and I have an affinity to each other is because of those reasons, because we're rolling, we're moving, we're shaking, we're sparking. And sometimes what that means is you're on the river.
Yep.
And sometimes it means you're on a tributary and you get lost, and then you got to find the river again.
That's what I love about us.
And it's all okay because we can come right back.
Yep.
And so you'll catch me up.
Yes.
So I had a personal experience recently, and once again, this is kind of one of these just kind of nice small ones. A dear friend who we were talking about before, who introduced us. I've talked to him over the years, and he's told me about what's going on with his son, and what the plans are. And he talked about this really aspirational. His son also has Downs, right? And this aspirational university program that he's trying to get into, and all these other things. And I've seen it on Facebook and all these other things. And then I go to the gym and I see this young man who's now a senior at the gym, just working out all the time. And I just went up to him and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And he says, "I'm doing good." I'm like, "I know your dad. I'm friends with your uncle." He's like, "Oh yeah, cool." And we just had the best conversation. And it was so much better for me to talk to him about his experience than live through his dad.
Exactly.
And I think there's this, for me, it's kind of this, I mean, do people look at people different from them as them having a force field around them? Like, it's almost like you don't, part of your thing is like that. I mean, kids in enough of the world, they don't say to hi to people who look exactly like them and maybe have the same, the homogeny.
Right.
But outside of that, have you experienced that with your son? Is that people are a little scared of entering that space?
There are times when I have to bring them in. There was this one time I was at the Luther Burbank Center, and this kid, we were going to the Blippi show. So there's that. But there was this kid who was there, and my son walked up, and he wears a Baja headband. So it's a hearing aid.
Okay.
And this kid was looking at him all funny, and the mom, I could see her like turning beet red and not know, like, don't stare, don't stare. And I don't know about you, but that was my only disability curriculum, was don't stare, right? And so I made the effort. Right. I don't always have the bandwidth to do it, but at that moment, I made the effort to say, "Oh, do you want to say hi to my son, James? This is James."
Yeah.
And the kid said hi, and James said, "Hi, how are you?" And the kid said, "I'm good." Yeah. And I said, James really loves Blippi. And the kid was like, "Me too." And we were able to have that kind of conversation. And then they went and rolled a ball together. I don't remember what they did after, but it's that simple curiosity. And as humans, we're scared of what we don't know and what we don't understand. It's our human nature for anything we don't know or we don't understand. And so I like to say, let's take the elephant out of the room before it even enters the hallway, right? Oof. If we can talk about it through reading books. I have a children's book I wrote that have actually local Sonoma County kids. And we talk about disability. If you can talk about that before you go out there into the world and you see a disabled kid, then there'll be, that's just like Johnny in the book, right?
Well, and let's get into that in a minute, because a part of what you've talked about is a community of belonging. It's not just talks, programming, reading, and other things. It's things like inclusive parks, where you see people. It's not like you section somebody who's different away to a different bubble, right? You create this kind of inclusive environment. So we'll get to there in a minute, but I also want to share with you is just as much as you say, like maybe the, what you were taught was don't stare. Yeah. In my family, anytime we saw somebody with a disability, it would be count your blessings.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Interesting.
Think about that.
Yeah.
But yet at the same time, how blessed are you to have James?
Right.
How blessed am I to know you and know your story? How blessed are we? Yeah. In a way, I don't think these things were meant as antagonism by people, adults who say them. Right. But yet at the same time, they create the othering that that perpetuates,
Yep.
right? Those are
Yep.
the things we have to break.
Yeah.
Is like, no, don't count your blessings. We're
Right.
blessed.
Right.
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 Thank you for saying that.
It's just so interesting how our world
Yeah.
perceives people that are different and
Yeah.
people that outwardly wear a label over their head that says, I need this kind of help. Like if
Yeah.
you saw my labels
Yeah.
above my head of the help
Yeah.
I needed, like we might be on this
Yeah.
conversation together, right? Like we all need help.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny. We're not trying to get into this world of like what people call cancel culture and catching everybody and being so crazy that we lose reality
Right.
in terms of checking every conversation. What's the intent behind it and other
Right.
things. But we do have to deconstruct these things.
Yeah.
Like for instance, when I say the count your blessings, that was also for somebody who was down on their luck.
Right.
That was also for somebody who was injured,
Right.
Or had cancer or
Right.
something, right? But once again, I think we have to unpeel our own lives to be aware, to be
Yep.
self-aware, and to
Yep.
be self-aware is a good thing.
Yeah.
So let's go into some more of this. Is like, so we've talked about, you have this network where you share, you have programming, you have this amazing thing of teaching this philosophy of be the one with students, 125,000 students, and this not othering, and how beautiful this is. And then we have things that are like infrastructure.
Yeah.
Talk to me
Yes.
about parks,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah.
You talked to me a couple years ago,
yeah.
and I was shocked. You're like,
Yeah.
hey, I want to tell you something.
Yeah. There
We
are
don't have any
none.
inclusive parks
Yeah.
in Sonoma County.
Yeah.
Where my child and your child would go to the same damn
Yep.
park.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, there's the Miracle League Park in Petaluma, but
Mm-hmm.
the only problem with that park is that it's not fully fenced in.
Mm-hmm.
And like being a single mom and having two kids, and if one of them was an eloper or someone who took off running,
Mm-hmm.
that park wouldn't be inclusive of me being at that park because there'd be the extra gates and it would just be me with my kids,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
That park is the closest, and it's a beautiful park. But other than that, we're building these new parks, and I keep seeing that tan bark being put in, and cities celebrating that they're making these new beautiful parks, which they are, but they're not inclusive of everyone, right?
Tan bark means?
Tan bark is like,
Yeah, it
the
means you
bark.
can't have somebody with a
it
wheelchair
means someone
going
with
through
a
it. You
wheelchair,
can't-
someone with mobility issues,
Yep.
someone with a walker. And this is not just about kids with disabilities. You
about
think
their
about a
grandparents
grandma
taking
who
them.
wants to go push their kid. And here's the piece. Disability is the only minority any one of us can fall into at any moment in time. So when we are building new infrastructure, why are we not considering the most support that we need and scaffolding up from there, right? The other piece that is hard here in Sonoma County and everywhere is adult size changing cables. You don't realize they don't even have them at hospitals. So you don't realize it, but if you have a kid or anyone greater than 33 pounds that needs to have be changed, they have to either put on the gross bathroom floor or they have to leave. Right. And one of the things we've been doing, they're expensive. Adult size changing tables are. But like if you're building a new hospital or you're building a new building, why are you not including these? Right. The second piece is we are, as an alternative to that, and I'm very proud of like Sonoma County Fair this year is going to be having not only a calming space under the grandstands for like our calming tent, but they'll be staffing it, which is amazing. We've been working with them for a couple years. But in their family restrooms, they will have cots so that the people can be changed not on the floor, but rather off of the ground, which is amazing.
Talk to me about calming tents.
So our calming tents are a tent, and Set and Strike is an organization. They come and they set it up for us. They volunteer their time to set up the tent. And the tent has comfy seating. It has headphones. It has glasses. It has like soft ground. It has fidgets, coloring pages. And I'll give you for an example. At the Christmas tree lighting thing last year, downtown Santa Rosa, there was a family who said that they were there with their family of 4, and their daughter is autistic, and they were downtown, and the daughter started to feel overwhelmed and was going to need to leave. And they were walking out as a family to leave, and the other daughter was having a meltdown because she didn't want to leave, and she was feeling really frustrated and sad. And obviously, as parents, I'll give you a side note, that just breaks your heart, right? If your kids, you have to leave a place because your kid is not supported, it's hard. And then you're letting the other kid down. And then are you causing issue between the two? But they saw our calming tent. And the daughter who needed the break went into the calming tent with the mom. The dad took the other daughter and got dinner. And they came back and were able to rejoin the lighting because the daughter had time with no sound, with no people, in a quiet space to rejoin. Yeah. And this is what we would love to see at the Wednesday night market, at the different events that we have here in Sonoma County. Because I mean, same. Like sometimes the crowds are a lot, and it's a lot,
100%.
And this is the same thing I say about parks and about bathrooms and about all the things. Is inclusion for all does not mean less for anyone. It just means that everyone gets to be a part of what we're doing. And so someone doesn't need to prove they have a disability to go in the calming tent. If you need a break, go take a break. And it's there for everyone.
So as we've gone through some of these different things, what I love is that you're out there in the community. You're supporting a network that needs quiet spaces too. That needs to not be out there in the community all the time. That doesn't, everybody's not willing to live their life on exposed, recorded at every moment. Yeah. But then at the same time, you make sure that people aren't forgetting that this is what's needed, whether it's a park, whether it's a space. Yeah. So, taking action each and every day is really what the world is all about. Right. Like do something good and then let's start to build momentum. Your work here in Sonoma County, the idea of turning, I guess, people who don't know into having awareness and then to having action. Tell me where you're at with your organization right now. How robust is it? Where do you want it to be? How's the movement? Yeah. Do you find yourself I would assume you have these days that you're like, we're rolling. And then other days you're like, I can't get anybody to show up to help me put up my tent. Yeah. But tell me where you're at in kind of the streamline of your work and the movement.
Yeah. I'll tell you, our last gala was one where I was starting to feel like, everyone says they want this, but no one's showing up, right? And we need support right now, or we are not going to be able to continue. And our community showed up, and it has been an amazing journey these last few months, watching people show up. Our board is robust with a variety of people on the board, from education to doctors to lawyers to people that really deeply care about the mission. Our presentations have hit places that I never thought we would be presenting. We're presenting this year at the Luther Burbank Center coming up in next year, actually in February. We're really being heard. And I definitely go through those moments of no one's listening, what's the point? Yeah. And especially, my heart is in the education system, and watching my son. Yeah, changing society, but also changing society if you have an area that's an institution where you can focus your effort, especially at an age where people are impressionable in a positive way. Right. And it's that, but it's also the educational system itself. As a teacher, I believed kids like my son belonged in a different class. I did not think that I could teach my son and I could teach a high-achieving kid in the same class. But the reality is that Sonoma, California in general is like 43rd out of 47 reporting states in inclusive practices. We can teach all kids together. There's something called universal design for learning. Have you heard of the term? No. If you think about curb cutouts, right, that are on the sidewalks, those are made for wheelchair users to access our community. And as great as that is, it also helps people with strollers, runners, skateboarders, joggers, right? People with luggage, all these different people. The same thing happens in education. You can universally design education so that the supports are there for the people who need it, and then you can scaffold up from there. Okay. And when I talk about this, I'm not talking about just kids with disabilities. I'm talking about English language learners, kids with trauma, which these days is nearly all of them, the pandemics, the floods, the fires, right? But also the high achieving students, right? Students who are above grade level, often get left behind. And here's what I mean by that. You can look at Tommy, who finishes his work early, and of course he's going to make a year's growth because he could do that on his own. But imagine if he was met where he was at, right? And he was challenged. And that's what universal design does.
Okay.
And our community is starting to embrace it. I am seeing movement in a variety of places, but often resistant to it. So my son, who has been fully included since preschool, this year he's moved to special day class.
Okay.
Because he's just so different that our school cannot have him be in the same class that he's been with his peers for the past however many years.
How does that make you feel?
It breaks my heart because it's
what
not.
What needs to change for him to be able to, like in this situation, in this school, not people. But
it's not people because the people care deeply about James. That is apparent. They love him and they work hard. It's our system.
Yeah.
It's our system that is broken. Our teachers are not paid. Like if they were to go do this universal design for learning training, they wouldn't get paid. And on top of it, they would have to work extra to write sub-plans to not get paid. And then they wouldn't get supported with the materials and the time that it takes to develop these things. And so, it's this whole system that needs to change. And it feels so overwhelming some days. I have several people I go to for pep talks because I'm like, it's not making a difference. Nothing's changing. But it's incremental work. And I have to remember that it is a slow moving ship. And, I've got some maps and I got a lot of fuel. But it's slow. And I think we're going to get there. I think people are starting to understand that universally designed things do not just for one population, but for all of us.
Yeah. It's unique. And I love that you say it, that part of universal design is empowering the individuals who their parents would say, you're at risk of holding my child back. Think about that.
Yeah.
You're countering that with a completely different paradigm, which is this is what's going to carry your child forward.
Right.
We're going to meet them where they're at.
Right.
What's happening right now.
Right.
I mean, even at my school, one of the things there's a bunch of parents who are pissed off, frustrated because there's not enough honors or AP classes offered us for freshmen.
Right.
Right. And they're sitting here saying, you're holding back my kid. And I might not have my kid go to school. I might look at a private school that's very expensive because I feel like my kid's being held back.
Right. Yep.
And then others, well, it really ramps up here and here. But that it's tough because I think sometimes we're owned by the frames and the stereotypes that already exist around us. It's like if I don't have that, then I can't advance.
Well,
or I can't go to school and then find something after school that also advances me beyond what I do.
Right.
If I don't get everything in one place, it's not good enough. Right.
But this is why the system needs to change because there is no one-size-fits-all approach for anything, particularly education. Imagine a world where this is my dream for education. I would love to see, kindergarten through third grade, we really focus on the solid bases of reading, writing, math, basic math, right? And then in fourth through the rest of the grades, kids are allowed to focus on their learning and learning of the standards through things they're interested in. You can learn math, science, social studies, history, writing through putting a car together and taking it apart, through building a building, through music, through art, right? And the problem these days is we're competing with YouTube kids, right? We're competing with this right now in your face. I need to be excited to care about it. And so we're losing kids.
Yeah.
And we're just pushing them along because that's what we do.
Well, when it gets all pedantic and it's like, I'm going to just sit you down and go through grammar bombs.
Right.
And it doesn't relate to them. I mean, the hardest thing for me is sitting down with my son and having him connect to his homework.
Right.
He has no connection to it.
Right.
And he's smart.
Yeah.
But he wants to take shortcuts too. If he kind of gets it, he doesn't want to write out all the problems,
Right.
so he gets it wrong.
Right.
God forbid.
Yep.
But the interest, the spark, the ability to connect with, just homework.
Yep.
Is one of the biggest things that it's challenging us.
And that's the problem is as educators, our biggest goal and dream and love in the world is creating those aha moments, those moments when kids love learning and are excited and curious. But when we are mandated to have to X, Y, and Z, and we aren't given, the freedom to do the things we need to do, or the resources, or the support, or honestly the respect, it makes it impossible.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what are James's interests? What connects with him? If you were in this situation, what attracts him? What connects with him?
Well, James loves music. He loves singing, and he loves basketball, and anything to do with throwing or rolling. Loves those types of things, and he loves connecting with people. Good. And so his biggest motivator is we have a picture book of people that he loves. So having him talk about the things in the picture book, right? And he can do math. He can count how many people there are. Well, what if we had 2 times this many, right? He can use those things that he cares about to further what he's doing and practice what he's doing. That's what I do with him at home over the summer. How many balls do you have? Okay, well, I want you to divide them in half, right? That type of thing, and thinking about ways to engage kids through their love of whatever it is so easy. Yeah. It just takes thinking outside the box and breaking down those barriers of we must do what we've always done because that's the way we've always done it.
My son is a magic with math when it deals with fishing and fishing line and what you're doing and other things like that. But you put a bunch of programs, just have him launch into y equals mx plus b in a calculator. It's also crazy because the whole question of what's needed for people to learn in the day and age where we're so dependent upon, we have so much scaffolding from even AI and other things like that. It's I think there's a lot of reforms coming, and I like what you're talking about. Ironically, our next episode that we're going to film is with Dr. Amy Carter.
Oh, great!
And a lot of it is about what the current state is of our school systems, but also what's the things going in. Her big thing is, it's so funny, you talk about a fundamental need. I'm like, so what's your big initiative? And she says, 3rd grade literacy. Like making sure people have the key to enter the world. Right. That they have that ability not to be locked below something. And that's been hundreds of years that the literacy is still a thing. But I also like that you're not talking about the what, you're talking about the how. Like, how do we get there? Well, we do it. It's because, for instance, at this point, if I want my son to really read in his off time, I got to get graphic novels that probably have some zombies in it. And I'm okay if he does that.
Who cares?
I could care less.
He's reading.
If he's
Yeah. I mean, more power to him.
Yeah. So, okay, let's kind of spin around and come back and full circle this, because it's just great to just riff with you.
Yeah.
Right. And I love seeing your arc and the arc of your son and you together and what's going on in this community. And I see a lot of good intentions. We live in a community that's very active, very awake compared to other counties in this country. I just finished being the president of the national counties, all 3,000 counties. And we have an amazing country, and counties and cities is where it's really happening. You got to get away from your angst about state and federal politics. But locally, there's just magic happening, on the ground. But one thing I know for sure is Sonoma County has great intentions, but doesn't always follow through on those. So tell me what you want to see here in Sonoma County and how we can help you.
What I would love to see more of is inclusive spaces and people taking into consideration, making sure that everyone is involved in the decisions. So you can't create a park without having disabled people there helping create the park, and people that will use it. My big belief is having the people that are going to use whatever it is, right? Who's going to use it, right? That was what was so special about presenting at the Sonoma County Tourism, because we went there as parents, and we had a parent of a child with autism, a parent of a child who has a seizure disorder, and myself talking about our variety of experiences. We all have kids with disabilities, but how different all of those are. And so making sure that the seats at the table are filled with a variety of people. And I think that's the way to make the biggest impact here in Sonoma County.
Inclusive spaces. So let's say we're talking about parks, trails, connection to the outdoors. We're also talking about classrooms. We're talking about concerts,
restaurants,
restaurants,
festivals.
You're right.
Yeah,
Okay.
all of those different things. And we've been very lucky.
And the only way to do that is to ask people who haven't been included
Right.
what they're looking for.
Yep.
And usually, I'd also just tell anybody who's interested in this is that a part of that is when you get somebody to open up who hasn't opened up in a long time, don't be afraid when they roar.
Yeah. Yep.
Because they got to get a little angst out
Yep.
of being left out to be able to come in and just be straight functional.
And that's,
Right.
we always say presume positive intent because everybody, all we want is to belong. And the people that are shouting the loudest, they want to belong and they haven't been heard or they don't feel like they've been heard. And so when we presume positive intent, when someone is coming at us, we can take a breath and know that it's not us. It's these systems that we are working so hard to change.
What do people really want?
To
Belonging.
belong. That's it. That's the one thing we all have in common. The people who are the loudest, the people who are the meanest, it's because they don't feel like they belong.
And it's funny because sometimes we use words and we say they want to be heard. They want to be seen. They want to be respected. They want to be like all these different words. But ultimately, there's a resonance with belonging.
It's
a calming thing. It's not
is.
like
It's like not having a mask.
Yeah, it's like
being
having
who
a
you are.
foundation.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm a believer. I love our work together. Use this as an opportunity to figure out what I can do, not just in the next 6 months while I'm still in office, but after that. And I encourage everybody else to do the same.
Thank you.
But more than anything, we have a common cause. And it's
We
about
sure
the
do.
common ground we need to create together.
We do.
Right? And the Common Ground Society, I just is so funny because I just want to tell you that it's great for me because a lot of people look to me and say, what are you doing as a leader? And I say, the biggest thing that I can do is find leaders in the community and put air under their wings or stop other people from dragging them down.
Yeah.
And you're one of
Yeah.
the best of that example.
Yeah.
I just love that you have that entrepreneurial spirit that is vested in heart.
Yes.
And it has grit behind it and
Yeah.
drive.
Yeah.
And it's for James, but it's not just James.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And that's the kind of stuff that makes this world a great place and what inspires us to go out.
Yeah.
So I encourage everybody to talk about this, number one.
Yes.
Go up, make yourself uncomfortable to make
Yes.
other people less uncomfortable.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Get out of your car and push somebody through the intersection
Yep.
in whatever way or metaphor that means.
Yep.
You know?
And be the one. And this
Oh,
is
yeah.
I brought this for you as a special little token for gratitude for all that you do and the care that you put into to being the one.
This is
because
inspiring.
we need more of you. We need more Gore. Look at that.
Oh, God. You know what was weird? I'll just tell you an aside.
Tell me.
Like, why not? My name, the only time I see my name other
Yeah.
than my name is just like when I turn on like a Netflix movie and up in the top it says, gore, violence, smoking, things like that. And the funny thing is I have a dog that is, I have to keep away from other dogs because she can be pretty aggressive. She's like an Akita and,
yes.
and she can,
Yeah.
get there. And we named her Red. And so they gave me her readout recently. I took her to the vet for a vaccine and it came out and it was Red Gore, assessment of Red Gore. So, but all things aside, Larkin, I just love the journey. I love that we found each other. And I love that I've seen you in the slipstream. I saw you, almost a decade ago
So wild.
Project Zen and doing Be the One. And then, my wife and I were so inspired that we bought paintings that night from some of the kids who just had found beautiful space in their creativity. And we were so inspired. And then I connect with you and you're like, oh no, it's common ground now. And now, and then at your annual gala, I wasn't able to be there this year, but last year, I mean, my family and I, there's not a lot of stuff I bring my family to.
Yeah.
And it was just joyous.
It was so awesome having your son
thank you.
up there and speaking. I mean,
he did.
This is the thing. They are our future. If we are not supporting them and teaching them these things, like who's going to take care of us? We're getting old.
Oh, he came up with me.
He
That was
did.
So beautiful.
You did. We're going to have to talk about that again, May 1st,
Okay.
2027.
Okay.
So
I'll be there.
mark that on the calendar. All right.
Okay, May 1st, 2027, join
That's right.
Larkin and I.
Yeah.
And become a supporter and a volunteer. And if you can help, if you need help moving a tent around, I have a truck too.
Fantastic. Thank you.
And I mean that. So, but
Okay.
if anybody else, volunteer, get involved. Let's roll.
All right. Great.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much. It was
Yeah,
really great
honored.
chatting.
Honored.